Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday to you. Today is Tuesday, September the 27th, 2022, and we're here at 901 Main Street in the Assembly Hall in the heart of Old Town, Conyers. And we're calling our meeting to order this morning. I'm going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance by our good friend, Pastor John Mark Oliver of the First Baptist Church of Conyers. Pastor Oliver.
Would everybody stand with me, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor, if you would lead us in invocation as well.
Would y'all pray with me? Father, we thank you so much for your goodness and grace. God, we thank you for the liberties that we have, and God, also the responsibilities that you've given us with those liberties. Father, we pray for our board today, God, and all those in leadership in our county. Father, you tell us that we know what's right, what's to do, God, and that's to walk humbly with you, God, to love mercy and to love justice. And so, God, we pray that every decision that is weighed in this room and beyond, God, that, Lord, you would give direction. God, you give wisdom, you give discernment. Father, I thank you for many of my friends that are in this room, God, as we all have a heart for this county, Lord, for its people, and God, just for the betterment of the community, God. I pray that you would, Lord, lead us in all of our respective areas of responsibility and privilege of leadership, God, to have an impact, God, not only physically in our county, but God, most of all spiritually. So, Father, we thank you for your love that's in Christ Jesus. We thank you for his coming, his sacrifice, Lord, and his freeing us from the bondage of sin and death. God, we look forward to that glorious day, Lord, when we will once again see you. But, Lord, in the meantime, God, we pray you'd use us effectively where we are, God, as we are, and God, give us that courage to be responsible in those places, whether they be small or great, that we can have an impact. Father, we ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Oliver. Thank you so much. And we certainly do appreciate the fine work that our friends do over at First Baptist Church of Conyers. As you know, that First Baptist Church of Conyers has been a pillar in this community for many, many years. In fact, the very assembly hall that we're sitting in and this whole campus was actually First Baptist Church. This was actually part of the first worship center. Then they moved next door. What we now call the auditorium was actually their sanctuary. And the office that the BOC is in was also a part of the campus. So there's a very powerful, positive, long-standing footprint in Rockdale County and Conyers through First Baptist Church. And Pastor Oliver, we appreciate you and your congregation and all of the work that you all do and what you mean to this community. As I say it all the time, no one gets anything done by themselves. And certainly as we cater to the needs of our citizens, government alone certainly can't do it by ourselves. We call on the very, very present faith-based community throughout Rockdale County, and First Baptist Church does its part. So thank you so much. Let's give Pastor Oliver another round of applause.
I need to pass the offering plate now.
Well, what time is service on Sunday morning? What time is worship, Pastor? 10 a.m. We'll see you on Sunday. All right, very good. We always appreciate it when our local clergy comes out, and I think one of the biggest pluses here in Rockdale County, I talk about it occasionally, Commissioners, that we do get to start our meetings with not just the Pledge of Allegiance, but we start off with prayer and invocation. They don't do that everywhere, not in every municipality, not in every county, and certainly we're fortunate to live in a country where we have that level of freedom to do that. I want to move on here this morning, special recognitions, and we have the juvenile court video, and followed by a presentation and update from Restoration Storehouse. We'll start with juvenile court.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Let's
Good
see if I
morning.
can do this. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm Diana Summers. I'm the Programs Administrator for the Juvenile Court. And thank you for letting us be here today. I've got with me Beth Smith. She's our Family Treatment Court Coordinator. Our Family Treatment Court is an accountability court that serves Rockdale County families with parents who suffer from substance use disorder and children who have been or are in danger of being removed from their homes. These families struggle with maintaining stable housing, food, and other necessities during the best of times. But in the current economic climate, when each trip to Kroger costs a little more.
Could you speak a little bit louder?
I'm sorry.
I can't hear you.
Let me see, I'm so tall, this isn't really, I'll try to lean into it a little bit. Sure. So in these economic times when each trip to Kroger costs a little more than the last trip, they're in more need than ever before. We'd like to express our heartfelt thanks to the Rockdale County Board for your continued support of our Family Treatment Court program. Chairman Nesbitt, we appreciate your attendance and your words of encouragement at our graduation in June. We had another graduation last week where we honored 4 more graduates, and Judge Wood was able to give $100 in gift cards to each participant. Not just the graduates, but each participant of the program. And that was to use towards rent, food, utilities, and other basic needs. This was made possible by the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners. So we thank you for your generosity. It made a difference in the lives of these participants.
Very good.
The success of Family Treatment Court is dependent on your support, as well as the support of our many community and state partners. In addition to Judge Wood and the court staff, DFACS, Southeastern Psychological Associates, CASA, and legal counsel all play active roles in our core team, participating in staffings, court hearings, training, and work sessions. Phoenix Pass, the Georgia Council of Accountability Court Judges, or CACJ, other Rockdale County accountability courts, the Stepping Up Initiative, and numerous residential treatment facilities across the state also provide valuable resources for our participants. It's by fostering these relationships that we will sustain our program beyond our SAMHSA funding. Before I turn over the floor to Ms. Smith to talk more about the services provided, and I would like to tell you about some of our successes.
Very good.
So 2 years ago, our program was really struggling. We received poor marks on our state peer review, and we were not serving the number of participants that we intended to serve. Utilizing our SAMHSA funds, we contracted with Children and Family Futures, a nationally renowned nonprofit and family treatment court expert, to provide training and technical assistance to our team. We worked with these consultants for 18 months, revamping just about everything in our program to improve our practices and increase our census. And here's just a few of the things that we accomplished. We're now a peer court for CACJ.
Absolutely.
When we were dinged for noncompliance, I'll pause for applause. Thank you. So where we were once dinged for noncompliance for best practice standards, CACJ now recognizes us as a model court. Judge Wood, Ms. Smith, and our treatment provider now observe other courts and help them attain best practice standards. Also, we doubled our census. So to date, we have served 54 parents and 104 children. And most importantly, we're safely reuniting families. 82% of the children of successful participants are currently at home. In contrast, only 20% of the children of parents who were not successful or did not choose to participate in the program are at home with their families. So I'd like to introduce now Ms. Beth Smith, our Family Treatment Court Coordinator and Employee of the Year nominee, and she'll talk more about...
Let's give her a round of applause. Absolutely.
Wow, guys, so nice to be here with you. And I'm just going to add on to what Ms. Summers has said. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the families and the participants we serve. I see a lot of you at all the recovery programs, and thank you very much. So, I believe everyone here has been touched by someone with substance misuse, and whether it's a parent, a sibling, an aunt, or a child, or someone in your community. So I've seen the support that this county, Rockdale County, has a big recovery support. It just makes me happy to come to work every day because the support is there. So thank you again. In the video, you will see the emotional impact of participants in the Rockdale County Family Treatment Court program. What you will not see is the number of services and the time they have spent in our program. The minimum our program is 18 months, and most of our participants have done longer because they need more. These participants that are in trouble with law enforcement, with DFATs, they need more than just a 3-month, 6-month program. We spend a lot of time with them, and when they leave the program, they have the support, the services, the coping skills, and the parenting skills they need with their families. So it's exciting. So just to name a few of the resources we give them before you see the video. We provide the participants with group treatment, individual treatment, weekly case management, weekly parenting sessions, weekly field support. This is surveillance. We changed it to be support because they do support our participants. It's more, a resource for them to see law enforcement in a different light, in a helpful light, and they do that by the end of it, so it's great. They have bi-weekly interactions with the judge, which research shows has a positive impact on rates of recidivism. We help with medication management for those that have co-occurring disorders, mental health and substance abuse, medical support, housing resources, job education, peer support, community recovery meetings, and again, like Ms. Summers said, support to individuals that are working with DFACs and resulting in the children being returned home sooner and families being reunited. And also the families have the skills to help with the trauma that they went through while they were in care. So with this, hopefully the video would show, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thank you, Ms. Summers. We'll watch the video at this time.
I played sports. I was all involved in high school, and when I graduated high school, I got prescribed a narcotic, a pain medication, and slowly but surely it turned into heroin. That was pretty much it.
The disease of addiction does not discriminate. Some of the finest people that I've been around, doctors, lawyers, the preacher, that I go to on Sunday morning, it could happen to anybody.
I was torn to pieces in my life. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I was just destroyed, kind of.
When I was using, I was the scum. I stole from my family. I lied, I manipulated. As long as I was high, that's all I cared about. Because as long as I didn't have to feel the pain of not being with my family and not being with my kids, then I was okay.
A lot of these families I've noticed, they don't have a mom they can go to for support. They don't have a dad they can go to for support. They have 0 sober people in their life.
DFACs was called on me, and they offered me a program.
And I got my son taken away in October. Once I lost him. So the deal was to join Family Treatment Court.
And then once I joined Family Treatment Court, they just kind of helped me put my life back together.
Family Treatment Court is an accountability court for our dependency cases. The goal is for parents who have substance use disorders to get accountability in an environment that helps them to achieve reunification quicker.
They are given parenting, substance abuse treatment, individual counseling. Their children are allowed to, get whatever help that they may need.
Instead of adding something more to their life and adding to that overwhelming feeling, we take their case plan. Say, for instance, they have a DFACS case plan, they have a probation case plan. We don't add another family treatment court case plan to it. We combine that.
It's really hard. You go to class every day of the week, except for the weekends. You have other meetings, individual, parenting. It's the hardest thing I've been through, but the most rewarding thing I've been through.
Just all the love from my peers and from Miss Elizabeth and Miss Suzanne and even the judge, the support that she gives us is just, it's more support than I ever imagined I could ever get from anyone.
Our judge, she's a powerful woman. She does wear the black robe, but she has a heart for what she's doing. She has a heart for these kids, and she wants to let us know that no matter what, we can do this.
Yeah, people are gonna mess up. Yes, they have to be held accountable. Let's say that they have a drug screen and they had a lapse and they use drugs. Instead of me saying, oh, I'm so disappointed in you, instead we are able to look at what's the behavior response that would help this person get back on track.
We don't even have a sanction matrix anymore. It's now a behavior response based on levels, based on where they are in the program, based on what is happening.
They don't trust defects. They don't trust the police. They don't trust the judges. They don't trust anybody. And a lot of the things that they've been through, they want to hide those things. So what we have to do in family treatment court is we have to get them to trust us. And that is a process.
It's hard work. It's not a magic wand, but there's hope for the families.
Everyone makes mistakes in life. You know, they might slip up and do the wrong thing or get with the wrong crowd, and they need that second chance to learn to do the right things in life.
Someone like me, I had to realize that I need a second chance and a third chance, and right now I'm probably on my 1,000,000th chance. We all deserve that chance because you never know what someone might say or someone might do that gives them that chance to change their whole life around.
I will have a parent that will come into family treatment court, and if I were a betting woman, I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. It's just not. They're on the rocket docket. You go from being the flunky of the class to being the star student. Like, you're showing up to your treatment, you're testing negative, you got a job, you're becoming a leader, you're going to your community support groups, and you're like, who is this person?
I never thought that in a million years that I would enjoy it. It made me whole again.
It's changed my life. Like, look where I'm at now. Just within a year, I have my kid back. I have an opportunity to become a CPS, certified peer specialist, and change lives and give back to what was given to me.
We have parents who are able to maintain sobriety. They're not only holding down jobs, many of them are finishing their education. We have less children who are languishing in foster care. We have children who are being reunited with their families.
Our kids think the world of us, and no matter what, I'm Superwoman to him. So I had to change, like there was no choice. It was either get out of his life for good or change for the better.
They always want their mom and their dad to be there no matter what they've done to them. They forget the negative and only know that their parents love them, and that's what everybody else has, and that's what they want. They want their family whole.
These kids will say how proud they are of their parent, and they mean it because they've been through it.
Every time one of the kids say that their parents aren't yelling anymore or that their parents are listening, to me, that's what makes it worth it. It doesn't have to be this huge brouhaha, it's those little things that are building those blocks for that child to be successful.
Every morning, seeing his smiling face, and he always asks for milk and wants me to turn cartoons on, and we watch Sunny Bunnies, but the TV show might be annoying, but those moments, just seeing his smile every single morning is worth it.
They've been told they can't do it their whole entire life, but they need to hear they can do it because they can do it. They just need someone to guide them.
I wish that it was just as easy to look at your kids and stop. But if it was that easy, then we wouldn't have addiction like we do now.
It's treatment, it's the judge, it's your attorney, it's the DFACS attorney who normally you feel like is out to get you, your children's attorney, your parenting advocate. So everyone is there and they're clapping for you. For a lot of our participants, that's the first time that people have said, we're proud of you, you're doing a good job.
Now, I love myself. To get that and to be able to really not just look in the mirror, but to actually look into yourself and be confident with who you are today is a huge step.
The disease of addiction, it's powerful. And it strips these parents of everything, but it never strips them of their love for their children, because they're not bad people trying to get good. They're sick people trying to get better.
Without family treatment court, I honestly don't know where I would be today. I am grateful for family treatment court.
If there hadn't been a family treatment court, I'd be dead. I'd be dead. My kids would be motherless.
So I had several things, Commissioner, I was going to say about it, but the first thing, someone should have warned us. We should have some Kleenexes in here. We should have some Kleenexes to pass out in here, because it nearly brought me to tears to hear all this. But let me just go back to what my spirit was leading me to say. Number one, let's give another round of applause to Judge Wood and the Family Treatment Court. So, Ms. Summers, Ms. Smith, and to the entire team of folks who, because it takes a team, it takes a real village. I did get an opportunity to come out to one of the most recent graduations, and everything that we just witnessed and heard is so true. And it does remind us why Rockdale County is the absolute best county in the state of Georgia. Let's give it to them another. We're not perfect, and I don't believe there is a perfect place. But I know that we have people who are passionate about people who love and who care, and that's evident even in our judicial system. You don't see this in every judicial system, where you have judges and people who are part of the system who really genuinely, sincerely care about rehabilitation, turning people around. Good things, bad things happen to good people, and everybody sitting in this room, the three of us included, know someone or have a member in our family or someone in our circle of influence who have been dealing with or currently dealing with some of the same very issues. And I'm just so glad, and I thank Pastor Oliver for coming in and leading us in an invocation this morning, because we're truly that community that care and are concerned about the people that coming in and out. And she said it, you heard Judge Wood say, yes, people have to be held accountable. But at the same time, we have to also think about how can we make these people better people in our community, more productive, and give them chance behind chance behind chance. The truth be told, all of us have had multiple chances in our lives in so many areas of our lives. So I'm just, Commissioners, I just wanted to take a moment. I'm going to yield to both of you all. I'm going to start with Commissioner Washington, then I'll come to Commissioner Williams. Any comments on what you just witnessed?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. I know from where this program started, and just to see what Judge Wood has done over there over the years is a tremendous blessing. A story that you all might not know is that I used to share an office with Judge Wood, and I told her long before she was a judge, I said, you're going to be a juvenile court judge, because you could see her heart there. And sure enough, she is the juvenile court judge. But I knew then what she would do for the juvenile court if she were allowed to take the bench. And to see that come to fruition is amazing. Not only that, I want to also say that the same thing in the juvenile treatment court happens in the superior court when we have those treatment programs, and it is amazing. I know I had a client that I got into a treatment court, and I was in the grocery store one day, and his mother came up to me thanking me for changing her son's life, telling me that he is now gainfully employed, that he is off the drugs, that he's back with his family. And that meant everything in the world. So when we do these treatment courts, we are looking at seeing the core of a person and knowing that they can be better than the place that they are now, and giving them the support that they need instead of incarcerating them, which it usually doesn't help anything when they're incarcerated. So once again, thank you all for all of the work, because like you all said, it is hard work. but it is so worth it when you can see stories like that. And that's only 2. Imagine all of the other stories and all of the other children that were affected. And when the children have a stable home and they're not worried about their mother and their father when they're going to school, that's going to help them with their grades, with their conduct and everything else that helps our school system and our juvenile court system. So that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner?
I just don't, I was so touched by the video. I'm always touched by the things that, the supports that are available that help people to change their lives. I've said it many times, when you help to stabilize one person, you help to stabilize their family, and then you help to stabilize a community. And that's really what it's about. We had our Year of the Peer Awards banquet last night, and Beth was there too, to honor all of those participating in any of our accountability courts. And there's, besides family treatment court, there's the DUI court, the drug court, and the resource court, which has to do with folks with mental health challenges. And I'm always impressed to hear their stories about how the support of the judge, of the family treatment court, or the accountability court clinicians and providers and treatment folks, and even law enforcement, how they've been so supportive and helped in their transition and becoming a healthier person. So I feel like this was just a continuation of our program last night, where seeing people's lives changed, seeing families reunited, really is at the core, at the base of our community and the things that we want to do. So thank you so much for Family Treatment Court. This was a desperately needed addition to the other accountability courts that we've had, because the Family Treatment Court treats the children also, because they're also obviously in need of care and support. So thank you.
Thank you again, Ms. Summers, Ms. Smith, Judge Wood, and to the entire team over the Family Treatment Court. We appreciate it. Let's give them another round of applause. Next up, we have the Restoration Storehouse. We have Dr. Robert Hughes, the new Executive Director, and the outgoing Executive Director is Mr. Ron Farley. Come on up. Absolutely. Okay, Dr. Hughes, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Doing good. Good morning.
Now, I'm encouraged this morning because it's always good to see how good and how pleasant it is when brothers and sisters dwell together in unity. And I'm thankful for the work that we just saw, and thankful for the work that's being done here in Rockdale, and just the Spirit of the living God falling fresh on us today. So good morning to you, sir. Good morning, Commissioner Washington. Good morning, Commissioner Williams. My name is Dr. Rob Hughes. I am pleased to serve as the Executive Director of Restoration Storehouse. I'm joined today by our immediate past Executive Director, Ron Fairley, our Board Director, Darlene Hotchkiss, and also several Executive Directors and their leadership of their organizations. And I'm just going to ask them to stand to just share my gratitude with them and their support. So if you can stand, our leaders and Executive Directors that are connected. It's wonderful to work with such a great team of people here in Rockdale County, and the commitment that has been made and the investment that has been made. It's my privilege again to be here. I know that part of our lease agreement, we have to come and share annually what it is that we are doing in the way of impacting Rockdale. But it again is also just a privilege to just be here, regardless of what the mandates may be. but just to be here in service. So we'll go forward. Next slide, please. This just simply shares our background. Restoration Storehouse exists to serve residents here in Rockdale who are at an income level of 200% or below poverty. The model that we use is collective impact. That is a process of us working together with community, with organizations, along with hearing the voice of those that we serve on a daily basis. Next slide, please. We are at 12 partners here with Restoration, and our partner services are available again to the community who are at 200% or below poverty, and those services are available at a free or reduced cost to the person in need of the service, and so there is no outgoing cost for those individuals. Next slide, please. This slide shows the different services in groups that we offer at Restoration. We offer education and training. We offer food insecurity, housing, medical and dental services, behavioral health, and spiritual development. One of our groups, Phoenix Pass, they offered over $350,000 a year of services in the way of transitional housing. That's extremely important with the conversation about housing here in Rockdale County. Additionally, Partnership for Community Action provided $960,820 in housing services alone in Rockdale County. Those services included first month rental support, mortgage assistance, temporary lodging for those that were experiencing crisis, trying to house them and moving them to a place of stability. Next slide, please. The slide here indicates the economic performance goals that were put forward in our lease agreement. The first economic performance goal was due on June 29th. The goal was $2,080,000 of services provided to the community over a 3-year period. We have met that goal and we have exceeded that goal, and we are well working on the way of our next goal of $4,992,000 to report by June 29th of 2025. Next slide, please. Specifically, of that goal, in our economic report, we shared that we achieved $5,580,542 of direct economic impact to services here to families here in Rockdale County. Part of our capital goals, the investments that were made, reported were $419,667 that met the requirements of our lease agreement. Next slide, please. Again, this slide shows our categories in which we offer services at Restoration Storehouse. The number under those slides are actually the amount of resources that were shared in community offering those services. So there was $6.1 million of services offered in education and training, over $1.3 million affected for food insecurity, housing $3.4 million, and the numbers underneath share the numbers of family engagements. We had 26,350. We had over 63,000 volunteer hours, and it also included 83,000 visits and appointments over our 12 partners over the past 3 years. Next slide, please. This again shows additional services and dollar economic impact, $1.6 million for medical and dental, behavioral health over $900,000, and then a capital investment of well over $6 million to our county. Next slide, please. Building update. I'm just going to go through a few slides for those that may have not had an opportunity to visit Restoration Storehouse yet, to just see what improvements have been made, and personally invite anyone who would like to come for a tour, that we are open, we are available for tours in partnership with community. Next slide, please. Again, this slide indicates what our capital investment lease metrics were. We met $400,000 over the course of those 36 months. Next slide, please. This shows the investment that was made, the heavy equipment use, this area to actually install sewer and drainage systems to make those capital improvements. Next slide, please. This is Head Start program. The previous slide showed some of the groundbreaking there. This shows specifically inside the classroom, the playground, and the parking area that was added to accommodate the Head Start program. Next slide, please. This is the playground area. Next slide. This is photos of the building before the renovations and building took place. Next slide. This is the interior of the building, the common area. We have an area called huddle rooms, which are available right now. They're occupied by Restoration Storehouse administration, but once we begin our building side, these rooms will be available to our partners to use for small group meetings. Next slide, please. This is the Restoration Storehouse Center common area, used for a variety of different purposes, from trainings to group meetings. Next slide. This shows here how the room has been used in our common area by our partners. We had Refuge Client Services volunteer luncheon. We had Phoenix Pass graduation. Recently, we hosted the Rockdale County Public Schools social worker and school counselor workshop and tour, as well as we had Leadership Rockdale present in our facility. Next slide, please. We have Atlanta Regional Commission Worksource Georgia office, where they're serving two groups of individuals, 18 to 24, as well as those 25 and above that are in need of Worksource support. Next slide, please. Next slide. Mercy Heart Clinic is active and providing a variety of great services inside Restoration Storehouse. Over the last 2 years, medical and dental services were provided in the amount of $873,350. That included 970 dental visits along with 264 medical visits. So that impact not only is financial, but it also helps to relieve some of the burden on our hospital resources as well, and develop long-term relationships with individuals to help them move towards some level of preventive health care. Next slide, please. This is the interior of the dental suite. We have three dental bays, and it reflects the quality of the architecture, the use of materials and resource. We have LVT flooring, wood paneling. The use of color is intentional because we want people to enter into the space that they feel comfortable, that they know that we honor their person in dignity, and by utilizing these materials in this way, the response that we've gotten from customer engagement, they feel better about themselves, and that is very much a part of holistic health. Next slide, please. We are moving forward into the next phase of our build-out, which will now start a capital campaign going into the next year. Next slide, please. That includes what has been identified as phase 2 and phase 3, but that will be the completion of the build-out of Restoration Storehouse. For those who are unaware, it's a 78,000 square foot space at 1400 Parker Road, and also there will be additional mezzanine level building put in, so it will be a total of close to 100,000 square feet of space dedicated to serving the people of Rockdale in the issue of alleviating poverty. Next slide, please. This is just a vision package of what other interior space will look like, common space. Being mindful of how COVID has impacted all of our work, we're taking all the precautions of designing what safe, common space looks like, but we also want to be intentional about encouraging the need to come together in common space, because we know that's where relationships are created. Next slide, please. That concludes the presentation for Restoration Storehouse. As I prepare to ask our immediate past Executive Director to come up for closing comments, I just want to thank you again for your support and the work that's being done here in Rockdale. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners. It's been fun. I say that because it really has. It's been a work of passion. It's been a work of pain. It's been a work of challenges, but it's been a work worth doing. And part of that is to see the partners that came together collectively to get this stuff done. Mm-hmm. We are Restoration Storehouse. We are not an individual entity of service providers. We bring together partners to make an impact on Rockdale County and the surrounding area. The partners that are here have given significantly. Specifically, we lean on Partnership of Community Action for their housing support and their utility support of the individuals here in Rockdale County. Head Start did a Herculean job trying to teach kids over Zoom. Who does that? No one who wants to do it does it. But they tried to do it, and they tried to stay active during that time. So Head Start is a continual partner. You think about them about children, but they also do mental health, food, and family services and house visits. So they try to approach the whole family in what they do. It's not just teaching the children early childhood development, and they did a great job at that. Phoenix Pass, well, Phoenix Pass has been around for a while. 15 families, women with children, engaging family court as they need to, helping them get what they need to do to keep their children and keep serving their children in a way over a 2-year transitionary period to launch them into a better life of stability. Then you continue on with Refuge. Refuge is moving in, dealing with a pregnancy, young pregnancies, older pregnancy, and anyone who's pregnant who needs assistance and engagement with that pregnancy. They're moving in. Rockdale Coalition of Children and Family really engages us with their health safety net. I need diabetes medicine. I don't have enough money to buy it. Can you help me? Those are the calls they receive. Then they come to find out that they got more difficult problems because they haven't had their medicine for days, and they may be in distress and they need to see a doctor. Well, they don't have any money for a doctor. So they line them up with a specialist, get them to see the doctor, give them their medicine, and try to stabilize them physically. While PCA at the same time may be in contact to try to stabilize them in their housing. So the collection of the individual nonprofits are working together, and the ministries are working together to improve the houses and the families and households here in Rockdale County. And that's a significant lift at times, especially when we moved into COVID time. Why? You couldn't go to work, so you wasn't making any money. They wanted to rent, and they wanted their mortgage. You couldn't buy any food because you didn't have any money. You couldn't get your medicine because you didn't have any money because you weren't working. But the nonprofits here represented, and others in the community, came together to meet the need. And in meeting that need, they made a difference to individuals, kept them in their homes, kept the power on, and kept the water on in a very significant way. And that is not to undermine any of the work that they did in conjunction with the concessions at times made by Rockdale County. We know that there were people calling you guys saying, hey, I'm 3 months behind on that water. What you going to do? Well, we're not going to cut it off. And working with the county on those different measures of dealing with their issues and dealing with the power company to get some concessions there in their issues. So we appreciate that type of work and working with the partners. We also have empowered families who try to work with families and keeping them together. It's a lot of stress when you're all piled into the house all at the same time, can't go to work. In the military, we used to call that when people used to be deployed, what used to end up happening is they came home from deployment and their spouse would look at them and say, when are you leaving again? We don't realize how often we spend so much time away from each other in our day when it comes to our family. To be thrust together into time of COVID and no one's leaving the house for weeks on end was stressful. Viewpoint, our partner, came in and they had to pivot quickly along with our other medical partner, Mercy Hart, to telemedicine. And in dealing with that, they started seeing people online as best they could because contact was limited. They had an average of 7 visits, Viewpoint, per individual to get them to a stable place. And that's significant. That's calling up, making the appointment, and there's a lot of different things in there. But in order to get people where they needed to be, it took about 7 contacts to make that happen. But they did the work. They found a way to do the work, and they continue to find a way to do the work. I don't want to miss anybody here. I think I got them all. But one of the things I want to leave with you now is some of the work that Robert shared. It is our impact report. We've already given our lease compliance report. Our lease compliance report is just that. It is meeting the minimum expectation required of our lease to keep our lease. So we have met the minimum requirements, as Robert has mentioned, but that doesn't dictate all that we've done. The numbers that are listed up above, total in all 6 of the categories that Robert shared, is $13.1 million of impact. That's of effort. And actually that's conservative, because I wanted to make sure I had about $2 million to play with in case anybody challenged my numbers and found out my math was wrong. I will say, okay, we'll take that out. I'll put this other one in that I know, but I don't believe that's the case. Why do we only report $400,000 worth of capital improvement? Because that's what the lease required of us. But how much capital improvement did we actually make? Well, the report says we made $6.1 million, and we have the receipts to prove it. So we've invested $1.1 million into that building to make it ready for our use as Restoration Storehouse, our home to serve Rockdale County. And with that, we're going to continue with our future with my departure. and the coming in of Robert Hughes as the next executive director, as he is serving now. I enjoy the work that I have with the county, and I look forward to potentially on some opportunities to work with you moving forward on some things of mutual interest. I enjoyed the work that I've had here with our partners because they've made a difference. Restoration Storehouse is the partners. We are Restoration Storehouse. I enjoy working in the community because the people make a difference. And I would leave with this story. There was a car that continuously stayed parked outside of our building day in and day out. When we go out, sometimes it would leave before we got to the car. One day we went out and we were able to catch the young man who was in it. What we didn't know is that there was a young girl in the back seat. As we engaged this individual, we invited him in. They wanted to use the bathroom. They wanted to clean up. We had a conversation with him. Long story short, we were able to get that individual, that young lady, his daughter, into Head Start and get him engaged with Worksource Georgia. That's what we're there for, is to have the suite of organizations available to get him emergency housing, because we also engage PCA, to get him emergency housing, look for him to get gainful employment, and find a place that will educate his daughter while he is preparing to find out what's different, because he's in this moment of transition. One of the things we need to do in Rockdale County as I prepare to leave is housing. Housing is a problem. Housing is not improving anytime better. We got to match our economic development to our community development. You can't bring in jobs that's paying $17 when it costs $20 to live here. So we got to find a way to bridge that gap and support that individual effort. And in doing so, we will be able to have a place for our people. People can afford it. Why? Because they're staying in the long-term housing. They're staying in the apartments. They're staying in extended stay. They're paying $300 there. They're paying more than most of us paying a mortgage, but they're paying it there. So something that has to be addressed here. That is the biggest problem collectively as nonprofits and ministries here in Rockdale County that we have, and that's finding a place for people to stay in Rockdale County. We end up having to move them to Newton. Well, what happens when you move somebody to Newton who's using Rockdale services? They stop being eligible for Rockdale services. So we have to keep them in the county to keep giving them the services that we've started with. So it's very important that as we move forward as a county that we continue to look at this issue of affordable and available housing and also emergency housing. And with that, I'd just like to thank the board. Thank you for the support you've given me personally. Thank you for the support you've given Restoration Storehouse. Thank you.
Let's give Ron a round of applause. Commissioners, there is so much to be said. I hardly know where to start. I think I'll just start out by saying every team needs a Ron Fairley on their team. There could not have been any other type of personality to lead the initiative with Restoration Storehouse, the agreement between Restoration Storehouse and Rockdale County. As I listened to, and we've heard multiple updates and reports over the years, as I was listening to Dr. Hughes and then listening to Ron and thinking about the start of Restoration Storehouse, I have to be very candid and say that I remember the difficulties and the challenges and the outpouring of fist shakers saying that we should not do this. But I could never be more proud as the chairman of Rockdale County that we entered into an agreement with a well-oiled machine called Restoration Storehouse. They had a pit bull of a leader, Ron Fairley, to come in and make sure it gets done. And it took that kind of personality to make sure that the facility got to the point to where it is now. When I think about all of the different things, the photos that was just displayed there, what they're doing with dental health and all of the other things, food and housing and the multiple things that I was very familiar with the story he shared about the person in the vehicle. A lot of folks don't know that we are doing all of this in Rockdale County for our community. It's Restoration Storehouse and the agreement with Rockdale County that's making this happen with all 12 plus partners. As Ron alluded to, everybody that's contributing is not even listed on the screen. There's a lot of behind the scenes people who are getting it done. So it's easy for folks to talk about what we're not doing. But it's not so easy for them to realize unless they make a visit. And I was so glad to hear Dr. Hughes say that, hey, we're open for a visit. If you want to come in and do a tour, do an open house or walk through, come see it for yourself. It's not the old Maxwell building that you remember from back in the day here in Rockdale County. It's a totally different place with the new vision that's taking care of people. So thank you to Ron, thank you to Dr. Hughes and all of those visionaries that brought Restoration Storehouse to the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners. It was this administration right here. I got to give credit to Commissioner Washington and Williams. It was this administration that signed on the dotted line to enter in the agreement to make this happen for the citizens and the families of Rockdale County. And it's happening on a day-to-day basis. So let's give them another round of applause. The last thing, and I'm going to yield to the commissioners, but I do want to make mention of, you're absolutely correct, Mr. Farrelly, about the fact that housing is one of the biggest issues in metropolitan Atlanta. As you know, Rockdale County serves as one of the 11 metro counties that make up the Atlanta Regional Commission. This is the topic that has been talked about in every county. I want to make sure that you don't think that this is unique to Rockdale. Every county is dealing with this particular challenge of housing. One of the things that is now coming out, because there's been a lot of emphasis, commissioners, on the word affordable housing. Well, there's been some misleading information because there's a difference between affordable housing and low-income housing. Don't get the two twisted and confused. A lot of folks who are on Social Security and SSI, those people cannot afford affordable housing because they only get $1,400 a month or a little bit here, a little bit there, and it doesn't qualify or make them eligible for affordable housing. So I believe not just local government like a city of Conyers or local government like a Rockdale County, the state and the federal government. I hope you hear what I'm saying. This is where the federal government is going to have to step up and step in and create a solution so that states, local counties like Rockdale, local cities like Conyers can be able to take care of its folks. A lot of folk come in, they don't have an understanding. They don't always know how it works. I'm so glad that we have a lifesaver. And the lifesaver in our community is called Restoration Storehouse, because basically from the cradle to the grave, they're taking care of people. And the most beautiful thing that I like about Restoration Storehouse is that you all do that while you allow people to maintain their dignity at the same time. You're rescuing people, you're not exploiting anybody, and you're allowing folks to maintain their dignity. That says everything, because when you do for someone, you don't have to announce it. And you're doing it and taking care of people day in and day out, and you're not parading those people, you're not exploiting them, you're allowing them to keep and maintain their dignity. And that's what Rockdale County is all about. I'm so proud to be serving a community that has a Restoration Storehouse. I'm going to stop there. Commissioner Washington.
First, is there any way we can get this put on our website so that we can
in a digital form? I'm sure if Ron, Dr. Hughes, if you all would get this to us in a digital format, I'm sure that we can, between our PR department and our technology team, we can get this added to our website.
Thank you. So I have so many Restoration Storehouse stories because they've come to the aid of so many people that I've referred. I remember first let me start with why I thought Restoration Storehouse, or a concept of Restoration Storehouse, was needed, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. Before I took office, there was this story about a young man who lived in Rockdale County, and he walked to college in like Dalton or somewhere, and he didn't have any resources. He went to college and walked with nothing. He came to school with no supplies, nothing, but he wanted to be there so bad that he walked. And I remember people in the community saying that we need to have a coalition of people that could provide resources when somebody's in need. They shouldn't have to go from place to place to provide resources, and there needs to be a uniform place where somebody could call to provide resources. And that was the number one reason why I thought this concept was needed. But it's exceeded my expectations, because when you get the calls that there's a woman with children living in their car and they need somewhere to stay, it is a blessing to have somebody like Ron Fairley or Dr. Hughes that you can call and they can at least try to get them housing. Last week, I think it was, all my weeks run together, so I think it was last week that we were on the very call with the United Way, trying to come up with solutions for the housing problem that we are having in Rockdale County. And let me tell you, it's going to be very expensive. They're anticipating to address our housing needs in Rockdale County $1 million a year minimum. And so we got to figure out how we're going to come up with that money, because when we stabilize the family, we stabilize the schools, we stabilize our judicial system, we stabilize everything. So we're going to have to figure it out. But I'm so glad, because Dr. Hughes was on that call. We had other people who know the housing needs, and they know where we're going to be and the vision of getting these people stable. My last thing, if you have not seen the work that they're doing over there, I highly suggest that you go and do a tour of Restoration Storehouse, because there's so many people that are still complaining about that lease, that we're leasing it to these people for $1 or however many dollars. But that's our investment into this community, into that vision, into the people who need it the most. It's not just ours, it's the community's investment into the people who need it the most. And the biggest impact that you can see is when you go and look at those children in the daycare and you see how well they are thriving, and you see the smiles on their face. I think it was cold the last time I went, and they orderly, knew how to go and get their things. Just a lot of self-confidence over there, but it's working, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
So I guess this took me into a history piece where I had just been to a NACO conference in DC, and they'd talked about the Stepping Up initiative, and I'd heard about Restoration Center in San Antonio, Texas. And then some of us with Viewpoint Health were able to make a visit to Restoration Center and their Haven for Hope. And I came back and I was so excited, and I thought we need this in Rockdale County, this one place where people can go to get the services they need. So I remember a meeting, I know Michael was there and Jeff Beach was there, and I don't remember who else was there, sharing about what I'd seen in San Antonio, and them saying, well, let us share with you what we have had in our head for quite a while. And so they shared with me their vision for Restoration Storehouse. And as they've talked, they talked this morning about what has been done and the fact that there's still a phase 2 and a phase 3, it takes me back again to that trip to San Antonio where they said it took them like 13 years to get to the point where they are now. And so while we're not there yet, we're on our way. And I think that, helping families is probably the core of what we need to be doing. And yes, we have made an investment in this project and in the center, but it impacts, like you said, it impacts our schools, it impacts our judicial system, it impacts our jail, our law enforcement, and our public safety. There are, I don't know that anybody has done the economics to show that what we have invested here has saved us over here. And, I think we can't forget that when we are supporting families, we are alleviating other issues. And so I think it was only opportunity speaking when we had the family treatment court this morning and restorations storehouse, because it all works together and provides a safety net for our citizens. Let me share something personal that I probably haven't shared before, but there was a time when my husband and I and our 5 little children were homeless. Now, we were not unsheltered, but we were homeless, and it caused us to move from California to Florida. And we lived in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house with his parents for about 5 months before we were able to find jobs and get back on our feet. We're not talking about people who are necessarily always, generationally impacted. We're talking about families who have personal situations at some particular time in their life. And so it really is, it's very meaningful to me, and I appreciate very much the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for sharing that story, too. So many things to celebrate in Rockdale County as we continue to move forward to take care of all of our citizens and address so many different needs in our community. This is the time of the year that we're entering. This is the season that we're entering, this season of giving and love and share. This is, and Restoration Storehouse, and as it was mentioned a moment ago, the Family Treatment Court, all of that is at the epicenter of what we do and who we are in Rockdale County, of loving and caring and taking care of folks. Again, I want to encourage folks, as both of the commissioners and as the representatives have, go over, see it for yourself. Go see Restoration Storehouse and be prepared for them to blow your mind, for it to blow your mind, to experience some wow factor and say, oh my God, I didn't know this was really happening. It's really happening at 1400 Parker Road. Let's give them one more round of applause. Commissioners, time to move forward with our agenda. At this point, item number 4 is the approval of the agenda. What is your pleasure?
I move to, is this me?
Yes.
Yes. I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries. I'm going to yield just for a second for the transition, and then we'll pick it up in just a second. Okay, item number 5, approval of the minutes from August 23rd, 2022, and September the 20th of 2022.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 6, there is no unfinished business at this time, Commissioners. We'll move on to item number 7, the consent agenda. What is your pleasure?
I move to approve the items on the consent agenda as listed below.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions concerning the items on the consent agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are rocking and rolling now. Okay. Takes us all the way down to the regular agenda, which is item number 8. Executive Director Rutledge.
Thank you. Item number 8, we have one item under the regular agenda, and it's item 2022-402. It's a notice of the public hearing. This is the notice is hereby giving that a public hearing shall be held at the Rockdale County Assembly Hall located at 901 Main Street, Conyers, Georgia, 30012 on Tuesday, September 27, 2022 at 10 a.m. The Rockdale County Board of Commissioners will consider a resolution transmitting a draft capital improvements element 2022 annual update report to the Atlanta Regional Commission for regional and state review per the requirements of the State Development Impact Fee compliance requirements adopted pursuant to the Georgia Planning Act of 1989. Said public hearing will be held in accordance with Section 9A of Chapter 110-12-2.04 of the State of Georgia's Development Impact Fee compliance requirements. Any persons wishing to be heard on the draft Capital Improvements Element 2022 Annual Update Report are also invited to attend and to speak this morning. Before we get into the public hearing and the public comment portion, we have Ms. Paige Hatley, our consultant, here to give a brief report on the CIE.
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's good to see you all again.
Yes,
I think
yes,
about
that
every
time
year
comes
or so.
pretty fast,
That's right.
yeah.
Yes, sir. That's
Like
right.
you were just here. Absolutely.
Exactly. So just as a quick reminder for everyone, you all do have an adopted capital improvements element, which is basically your long-range plan for impact fee eligible projects. It's your master list of those capital projects pertaining to library system and parks and fire protection, those projects that are needed to serve future growth over the next 20 years. But the state, of course, the Georgia Department of Community Affairs requires of all communities that collect impact fees that they have to provide a report every single year so that they and the public understand what's been collected in the way of impact fees, what's been spent, and specifically what local projects the impact fees have been spent on. And so we just have a very brief report that we have to compile every year. It includes a financial report for the previous fiscal year, as well as a near-term listing or short-term listing of projects. This year it'll be submitted for between 2023 and 2027, what library, parks, or fire projects are anticipated to be implemented. And then we package all of that and send it first to ARC, who acts as the conduit to DCA for the required review. Final part of the process is, as mentioned, there is a public hearing to give the public an opportunity, if they may, to speak on the draft annual update report. Then it'll go in for review, and then upon approval by DCA, it'll come back to you all, of course, for adoption. And then we put it to bed and then pick it all up again next year. So happy to take any questions before the public hearing and transmittal resolution.
Commissioner Washington, any questions?
I have no questions.
Commissioner Williams?
So, Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would like to open the floor for any public comment. I only have one public comment card this morning. It was from Ms. Turner. Did you want to speak on the CIE, or was it about something else?
You don't have to ask permission to go to the restroom, Ms. Turner. Just, if it's an emergency, you ought to go on out the door. I'd be moving if it was an emergency. Go ahead, Director Rutledge.
So I would open the floor to any public comment relative to the CIE.
Not at this time.
Okay. So then we can move on to the vote on the transmittal resolution for the capital improvements element for 2022 annual update as presented.
I move to approve the resolution as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right. Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Page. We'll see you next year.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks
thank you.
so much. Well, that brings us down to the actual public comments. So would you like me to read the disclaimer and make sure anybody
So
else?
how many cards you have?
Right now, I just have one.
Just got one, and I think that was,
Charlotte has.
Charlotte has one. Okay, come on up,
We have
Ms.
another
Gillett.
one. Then we have two.
We'll go ahead and take Ms. Gillett while she's coming up, Chief. Yes, go ahead and bring her up. I know that Ms. Turner had an emergency. Come on up, Ms. Gillett.
Would you like me to read the
Yeah,
disclaimer?
you can still come up and she can read the disclaimer. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll do it concurrently. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are currently going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Gillett.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Chairman and Commissioners. On August 5th, the county issued a press release. It was after the first two millage hearings on August the 2nd, saying that county leadership began evaluating cost-saving measures for fiscal year 2023. Quote, Rockdale County is taking proactive steps to reduce the cost structure while continuing to offer services the community needs, Mark Lewis, Finance Director, said. The county will continue to monitor the economic situation and make appropriate decisions to remain consistent with the quality of service the county is known for. We are committed to cutting the budget and upholding our duty of fiscal responsibility. On August the 16th, the county issued another press release, and this was after the millage was increased by 2 mills to support the debt service associated with the judicial and administrative complex. Part of the press release, after listening to citizen comments at the millage public rate hearings, county staff will work to present options to the BOC for a forensic audit, as well as host public information sessions about topics that impact citizens the most. Chairman Oz Nesbitt Sr. recommends no full-time employees, reduction in training and travel, and cuts to every department's 2023 budget. An additional cost-saving measure includes the BOC hosting their annual board retreat in 2022 at a location within Rockdale County. Well, it's interesting that for 2023, you're going to recommend no new full-time employees, and yet in today's consent agenda, there was an approval to add a full-time position in the Transportation Department, a full-time position in Planning and Development, and 36 new firefighters. So, I'm glad you're staying in Rockdale County for your retreat on Wednesday, October 2nd, Thursday, October 13th, and Friday, October 14th. I want to give everybody listening in here a heads up that your evening meeting in October, on October the 18th at 6 o'clock, will be the 2023 Appropriations Budget Public Hearing. You will have the first reading of the 2023 Appropriations Ordinance at your regular meeting on November the 8th. All right, so we'll be able to see and hear if your actions follow your words, or if they're just empty words, because the 2023 budget will affect the millage rate that you need for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to having you, and thank you for all you do, Ms. Charlotte, on behalf of all the citizens here in Rockdale County. Come on up, Ms. Turner. We'll get Ms. Turner, and then School Board Representative, Ms. Sandra Jackson, leader in the community. Please get her card from, she wants to speak as well, please. Ms. Turner, go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I listened to all the presentations, and I think it's wonderful what the other organizations are doing, and I applaud them. But during the comments from the commissioners, I heard that affordable housing, people with $1,400 a month can afford. And it made me think about the millage rate, which Charlotte touched on. It was publicized that it was 45% increase, 20 point whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is there were 3 millage hearings, and the very first one and the second, CFO Mark Lewis, his presentation had the 18.69. That was on the second that morning and the second that evening. On the third, I submitted an open records request to the tax commissioner asking for the projection, what they collected last year in revenue from business and resident, and she gave that, and what's the projection this year. On August the 5th, when I got the results back, or the response, it was 18.69. My point I'm trying to make is that over 1,000 citizens came up with hardships, just like what these gentlemen are talking about, or these organizations saying they can't afford. Some of them making that kind of money. Everybody, or collecting that kind of Social Security. Everybody purchased a house that was affordable to them, and now because of the increase in the millage rate, it's making it unaffordable. But the board comment, the point is 18.69 from the second, and then on the 16th, that's what was voted on. Your minds were made up. So you all, when it came time for board comment, the board comment said, "We hear you. We hear you." And that's all you all did. You had no intentions of changing it. People were crying. People were on walkers, canes, disabled, whatever their situation, people were hurting. And you all didn't hear them. I mean, if we can't come to the elected officials, and these nonprofits can do this for the other people, but it's 90-some thousand other people saying the same thing that these, so I just want the people to know your mind was made up. You didn't do any adjustment. 2 commissioners voted for that. One stood up and said, "We cannot do that. Why are we collecting money for debt we don't have? 6.6 million for debt you don't have." You needed that money. The county needed that money to put in the bank so they can qualify, say for a loan, basically. So you borrowed from Peter to pay Paul. And I'm just appalled. That's all I had to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Turner.
The emergency was I got lightheaded.
Thank you, Ms. Turner, and thank you for all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Come on up, Ms. Lett, Jackson Lett. Come on up, Ms. Lett.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And first, I would like to say thank you all. I have to shout out to the water department, always on ready to help. Storm water, thank y'all so very much. Today I come to talk about, he always want me to talk about the Board of Education. So just a reminder to the community, the Rockdale County Board of Education meet every second Thursday at 6 p.m. and every third Thursday at 7 p.m. at 960 Pine Street. But the reason I'm here today is because of Rockdale Emergency Relief. We know, as you said earlier, that this is a time of the year for season, for giving and being thankful and all that good stuff. So we're asking the people in the community to come out and support the Rockdale Emergency Relief. We're in need of canned goods, volunteer hours, because we're going to be having giving away Thanksgiving baskets. And I do not have that date, but I can bring it back later. That's going to be in November. And then in December, we're going to be trying to provide Christmas goods for the children in Rockdale County. Last year, I think they did 150. I'm always greedy. I said, let's hit that 250 mark this year. So we need all the support that we can get to help make that day a great day. We do know that the Rockdale Rotary Clubs are going to go shopping on the first Saturday in December. And the plan is to give them gifts away on December the 17th, which I think is the third Saturday. So we need anything that you all can give us, whether it be money or volunteer hours. We need help in Rockdale Emergency Relief, because as we all have heard, that yes, it is very difficult here in the world today. So there's a lot of people that's hurting. Some of us are a little bit blessed than others. So just remember that person that may be a little least than we are, and try to help we can. We're not asking for millions of dollars. Just give whatever you can. Skip Burger King for a day, skip Starbucks for a day. Just come out and support and help the Rockdale Emergency Relief. Okay, as we do know that there's a lot of great things going on in the Restoration Storehouse, but Rockdale County is really hurting this day and time, and we need to show our neighbors love as Jesus showed us, and that's love.
Amen.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much, and I want to take a moment, because you do so many wonderful things other than your service with the Board of Education. But I want to go back to that for a second. What district or what area do you represent on the board, and how can parents get a hold of their representative? Tell them about how they can reach you and exactly which district within the school system as an elected board member that you serve. What area is that?
Chairman, I do not have a district. I serve every 16,000 plus students here in Rockdale County. We are at large.
Okay, very good, very good.
We are at large.
Very good. And how
I am reachable by 770-843-0643. But do understand that I am just one voice, one vote. But if you have a concern, If I don't have the answer, I will research that answer. But we all have email addresses, so that you can always email. And I do not know that by heart, but I know mine is Sandra@rockdale.k12.ga.us. So I'm reachable. I am reachable.
All right, all right.
And I do wear several hats here in Rockdale County. I also work for Rockdale Coalition for Family and Children as part of the Restoration Storehouse. We help people in Rockdale County that's uninsured with their medical needs, whether it be medical, dental, vision, hearing, behavior health, transportation to and from the doctor. So the resources are here in Rockdale County. We just need to utilize them. Thank you all so very much for your time.
I want to say thank you to you because really during the height of COVID, you were on the front lines with our efforts over at Springfield Baptist Church and other areas, making sure that folks were able to get their COVID testing as well as the vaccine. I remember receiving several text messages from you really almost begging and pleading folk to come out. So we do appreciate you show up at our meetings, your service with the Rockdale County Public Schools, and I really appreciate that you pointed out that you serve at large. You serve all, we have over 16,000 students enrolled in our public school system here, but you come out to our meetings and all of the other engagements with our community, but you represent as a board member, and I appreciate you giving your number so people can reach you. And you stated you're only one voice among that elected body, but you're there, and we appreciate that. So I just want to say, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that was all of the public comment. We're going to move right on into board comment. I'll start with Commissioner Washington.
Well, first, this is our birthday month, so happy birthday, Commissioner Williams, Chairman, me.
Happy birthday.
We had a good time at the final concert of the season, so that know that's one of my favorite. That is probably the favorite that we do, that I attend. So it was good for all of us to celebrate together on Sunday. Going into the 8th of October, State Representative Doreen Carter and myself will be presenting a resource, I guess, fair or conversations with state and local representatives for small businesses. And then on the 19th of October, that will be at JP Carr Community Center. And on the 19th of October at Costley Mill, we will resume the series, and I think this is part 3 of our series, and we'll be focusing on marketing for your small business and your nonprofits. A lot of people have asked me if nonprofits could participate, and of course, nonprofits are businesses. They just structured separately. So on that 19th, we're having that, and that's at Costley Mill. That starts at 6 o'clock, and the one on the 8th starts at 10 o'clock. I will say that today, I'm very proud of the things that we're doing in Rockdale County. We have more to come. We have a long way to go, but we are headed in the right direction, and it does show the compassion of this board and the community to put things together that help the least of. So I'm full today because it's not just in the court systems, but we do have things that are going on in the community, and then it's not just this board, it's the school board, it's our economic development boards. When we just helped with a bond project that made sure that we had a certain number of affordable housing rental units in one of the rental developments. So we always keep the best interest of our citizens in mind when we make these decisions, and it's across the county. So that's it. That's all I have.
Commissioner Williams?
So I have really enjoyed the board meeting today, and we heard so much information that just resonated and touched my heart. And I think that's kind of the thing that I enjoy most about being on this board is being able to be a part of some of those reports and hearing what other people are doing. I did mention we had our Year of the Peer awards banquet last night as part of September is Recovery Month. And we also had another event earlier in the month that was a listening session that was sponsored by the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse, who's a big partner in the things that we do. In fact, almost every time that we have an event, someone from that state organization is at our events, which is true at both of the recovery events we had this month. And the listening session was an opportunity. We had judges, we had mental health professionals, we had law enforcement, we had people in the court that are participating in the accountability courts, we had people from the community at that listening session to give their input on what do they think we need in terms of transportation, housing, resources, and it covered a number of different areas of needs in Rockdale County. So as they compile all of the information from that session, then I'll be happy to share that with some of the suggestions from all of those different areas. So that really is all. I think I've said plenty during the meeting.
All right, very good. Thank you, Commissioners. So we have a few brief updates from a couple of our departments. And Commissioners, in the spirit of education, as we've been talking about, educating and enlightening our general public about what's going on in our various departments, I've asked a couple of our department directors to give us just a brief on some of the nuggets of things that are happening, just to keep people updated and educated. And we're going to be doing this as we continue to move forward. I'm going to start with Director Redmond from Parks and Recreation. He has a brief update with some exciting information he likes to share this morning. Director Redmond.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
So as PR is in the back queuing a video for me, I remember when I first started in 2017 and I visited some of the properties, Parks and Recreation properties. One of the gymnasiums that I visited was JP Carr. When I walked on the floor, my reaction was yikes.
Absolutely.
The floor was a rubber floor, and that's technology of the past. And one of the reasons is because with rubber floors, as you clean it, you wipe away the surface of it, and you cannot go back and re-shellac it or re-shine it or anything because it's that hard rubber, so it doesn't hold up worth anything. And then you run into the health and safety aspect of it. It's just a hard flooring, and it's not good for impact. We do have seniors that utilize that gym a lot for pickleball, so we want to do a good job of renovating that gym. I assume Sean's in the back queuing the video, but I'll give you some updates about it. The last time that gym was renovated was October 2008. So this past July 5th, 2022, Deputy Director Hammer and I, myself and his team, sat down and went through a lot of conversation about how to best update the gymnasium and bring it up to par and bring it up to speed. Whenever the video comes up, if it comes up. If not, the gym looks exactly like the new gym at Johnson Park at this point. Okay. The floor has been replaced with a shock-absorbing wood floor. LED lighting has been placed throughout the building. The exit signs have been redone and illuminated better. And then we repainted the mural that was dedicated to the building a couple of years ago. We refreshed that by sprucing that up some. So I know we made. Hi, my name is Jason Redmond, Director of Parks and Recreation for Rockdale County, and I want to share with you some of the renovations that we've completed here at 1090 Hardin Street in JP Carr Gymnasium. We have upgraded the entire facility to include new interior painting, all new LED lighting, and we replaced the rubber flooring by installing a new shock-absorbing wood floor. The external entry doors were updated and the emergency exit lighting were improved with night lights. And lastly, The building mural was refreshed, keeping the same original design and colors. If you are looking to utilize any of our facilities, call us, follow us on social media, and be sure to download our mobile app. And oh yeah, don't forget about our new Fit for Life campaign in partnership with Living Well Rockdale. Join us as we continue to recreate, or as some might say, recreate, here at Rockdale County Parks and Recreation. Thank you for that. So, thank you, Director Mims, to your team for getting that together. And I did have to go to Chief Mac's School of Video Voiceover. Took me a while to get that one done.
She got you straight.
She got me straight. Her video was excellent. So, as I was saying about the branding for Parks and Recreation is very important because we are a face of the community. We hold a lot of community events, a lot of special events, a lot of athletics, programming within the building. Therapeutic is an arm that we deal with as well. So we want to make sure that we're maintaining consistency with the branding, and it's not just, the programming, it's the look, it's the feel. When you walk in a building, you want to be able to feel that you're in a place of quality and be able to participate. And it also attracts different vendors, different people wanting to rent the facility. So it's a big help for us. The next thing I want to talk about was the dog park, or I should say Paw Playground. Last Thursday, September the 22nd, we held our ribbon cutting for our new dog park in Rockdale County, and it's at Johnson Park. Just a couple of facts about the dog park. I know some people may say, oh yeah, it's just a dog park. So when we did our comprehensive master plan, we have a page in the master plan called a level of service, and it deals with park metrics that are governed by the NRPA, National Recreation Parks Association. So the level of services for NRPA states that it should be one dog park per 42,000 residents. So we all know we're over 90,000 residents in Rockdale County. So in short, we were in deficit. We had a deficit of dog parks for the community because we opened our first one in 2019. So by opening this second one, that takes us completely out of the deficit as it relates to NRPA park metrics.
Very good, very good.
So the work is not done. We will need to have another one open by 2028 if the expected population continues to grow in well over 100,000. So those are my updates, and both of these projects are SPLOST funded projects.
Fantastic.
So SPLOST dollars working. Any questions?
Thank you, Director Redmond. Keep up the good work. We'll now hear from Director Peak from RWR, Rockdale Water Resources. He's got some information, very brief, to share with us this morning. Director Peak.
Yes, good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning. And good morning, everyone. We have we have it up there. We just have a brief presentation. As a follow-up from last week, we talked about lift stations, pump stations last week. So we'll start this presentation off, and we call it Rockdale Water Resource Wastewater Pump Lift Stations. Next slide, please. What is a lift station? Pretty much, it should be what is the purpose of a lift station, and we talked about that last week. Lift stations. Lift stations are used to move wastewater from lower to higher elevation when pipe is installed at an elevation that is not sufficient for gravity flow and/or when the use of gravity conveyance results in excessive excavations, depths, and high sewer construction costs. Next slide, please. Fieldstone Pump Station. Fieldstone Pump Station elimination. That is one of the pump stations we talked about last week. We're actually eliminating that particular pump there. That particular pump that we will eliminate, the sewer flow will be sent to the Avondale Springs lift station by gravity flow sewer system. Next slide, please. Salem Lake lift station. This particular lift station, this picture was taken during a flood event, during a rain event. The purpose of our sewer rehab system, this is a great example of the purpose of our sewer rehab system. When we have a flood event, we have infrastructure, we have manholes, sewer manholes under the ground. Whenever we have a flooding event, it would cause our system to overload. Consequently, when the system overload, we may cause a sewer spill in our system. So the sewer rehab program is going to help with these particular issues where you have a flooding area in a flood zone. Next slide, please. Quick Trip lift station. This is just a picture of the Quick Trip lift station. Our lift stations here, you can't see the pump. The pump is actually a submersible pump on the ground. It's located inside of that concrete structure there. Next slide, please. Old Covington lift station. Another lift station, just a picture of the structure that we do have to maintain. The pump itself is inside of that concrete structure, submersible inside of that concrete structure. Next slide, please. Seddon Road lift station. Seddon Road lift station, just another picture of a lift station. The pump is actually submersible inside of that structure that you see inside the fence. Next slide, please. We have a list of all of our pump lift stations around Rockdale. We have 31 lift stations, so we do have to maintain these lift stations. 31, we have to do maintenance, we have to do repairs of these lift stations. And pretty much that's all I have to add to this presentation today, just a brief presentation.
Yes, sir, and thank you, Director Peak. I mean, just the point that we have various lift stations throughout the county in order to support the operation of sewer and water in Rockdale County is very important, and to be able to make sure that the general public understands the purposes, as you've already given, why do we have them and what do they do. All right, thank you. Give them a round of applause. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right. Chief McDaniel, if you would, come on up at this time. Absolutely, absolutely. Come on down.
Good morning, good morning, good
Good morning,
afternoon.
good morning.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Commissioners. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Rockdale County Fire Rescue, but before I do that, I want to share with you our vision, because it's important. Our vision is Rockdale County Fire Rescue strives to exceed the changing needs of the citizens and communities we serve through commitment to innovation, service, and excellence. Rockdale County Fire Rescue was established in 1951 with one station. Yet it hasn't seen any growth since 2009 when we got our 9th station. But the county is growing. From 2010 to 2021, Rockdale County population has grown consistently, but the fire station hasn't. But we haven't missed a beat in service. So now in 2022, we're on the verge of adding our 10th fire station, which is going to be huge up on the north end of the county. We recently petitioned and looking to add 36 firefighters to our operational staff. You heard me reference about NFPA Standard 1710 that speaks to the recommendations for fire service. We were operating 9 fire engines, sometimes running with 2 persons. I mandated early in the year that we're not going to operate like that because it's not safe. We're getting there and we're getting it done, but my primary concern is for the men and women of Rockdale County Fire Rescue in order for them to serve the citizens of Rockdale County. That's why it is important for us to get that 10th fire station as well as the additional 36 firefighters. It's going to help us serve the community better, as well as provide for the men and women of Rockdale County Fire Rescue. So I want to close with this, reminding you of our motto, excellence beyond our standards, service beyond your expectations. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Chief. Keep up the good work. Give Chief Mack and the Rockdale Fire and Rescue a round of applause. Absolutely. We got to have firefighters, and we need that. We're so excited already. We're anticipating the grand opening, the ribbon cutting of Fire Station number 10 on the north side. The folks over on the north side of Rockdale County are super excited, Director Holmes, but finally getting a fire station out there just past the horse park, and they don't have to wait forever for a fire truck to either come from Rockdale or Newton or Walton County. That's a big, big deal. And we have to have fire personnel to staff all these fire stations and make sure we don't shut any place down, that we can respond to folks. Because it's not really just responding to a fire, all the medical calls, because we have EMT and paramedics who are a part of the fire operation. They're not just firefighters. We've got people that are saving lives as well. I'm going to ask that Deputy Director Jameson come on up. He has just a quick nugget on some good customer service. I think everybody wants to hear what's going on in water customer service. And Deputy Director, tell us, you couldn't wait. You was telling me yesterday, Mr. Chairman, are you going to let me speak? We'll let you speak.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Madam Commissioner. So good to have everyone. So we are excited down at Big Blue. We are rocking and we are rolling. If I can steal some of your lines, Mr. Chairman. One of the things that we're really excited about is a new website. We've worked with technology services that we are fully anticipating shortly to be rolling out a new utility-branded website. One of the things that we've heard our customers loud and clear, that sometimes they have a hard time getting to the Rockdale Water website. And so we have branded a website that we're very excited about, that you'll have our FAQs, announcements, and an easy way to log into your account and pay that Rockdale water bill. Talking about water bills, we are excited that our billing timeliness is right there. Ms. Turner, how many months have you gotten your bill on time?
She's clapping. She's clapping.
She put her hand up. That's 5 months. And so we're really excited. That starts with our field techs, our meter readers. And I want to celebrate that bunch. They're led by our supervisor, Calvin Cody, and they are out there rocking and rolling. We have been fully staffed. We lost one of our staff members that we're looking to fill. We just lost him in the last few weeks. But that team has been able to really keep it pushing. We hired 2 new field techs within the last month. It's even had some cameo appearances by yours truly, when we've been out there reading meters to make sure that we can bill our customers on time. So hats off to our field tech and our billing team and our customer service team. We are rocking and rolling out there, and we're very excited that we're able to bill our customers. They get 1 bill a month, and that bill is due within 20 days. And so last thing I want to say is that, talking about bills due, we're excited that we partnered, I believe it was early this year, with Partnership of Community Action. They had our LIWAP program, and that was the opportunity to help our customers who had troubles paying their bills on time. And today, Commissioner, we have serviced over 390 customers with over $160,000 of water bills being assisted. That's over $400 per customer. So you're asking what happened, is it too late? No, it's not too late. I just heard today that they're rolling it out for 2023 also, which means anybody in Rockdale County that qualifies for water assistance can contact 770-929-2500, option number 3. That's 770-929-2500, option number 3. And if you need help paying your water bill, the PCA staff is sitting there waiting to help our citizens in Rockdale County. That's it from Big Blue.
All right, give him a round of applause. We're almost done. Deputy Director Hammer, come on up and give us some great news coming out of General Services. Absolutely. This education piece right here is that's what the people asked for. They asked for it. Give it to us.
Good morning. You have me after Vaughn. That's just not fair. In fact, I think your text even reminded me to say it with enthusiasm. I think you were setting me up on that one. So that's right. That's right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew Hammer. I'm Deputy Director of General Services. General Services is the behind-the-scenes department. We're the invisible department. If we do our job, nobody knows we're there. It's hard for our staff sometimes to have that appreciation, but they do understand that the government is about service. And our task is to maintain all of the county's facilities and the vehicles. Sometimes we renovate offices, we build new buildings, and our task is to strike that balance between the cost-effective manner that we do it and keeping Rockdale County looking well. And that's a difficult task, and sometimes that's reflected in the comments of the citizenry. But I'm proud of that, because even with the challenges of COVID, the supply chains, labor shortages, our staff is still able to get the work of the county done. We touch every department and every elected official in the county. So I had a whole bunch of things on here because we touched so many. I wanted to keep it short. Director Redmond hit on some of the items I had on my list, but often we don't toot our own horn, and he's selling us short a little bit, because oftentimes we seek, the county has goals, the departments has goals, and they seek alternate methods of funding, grants, SPOST funding, impact fees. There's all kinds of other ways that we get the work of the county done without directly affecting the millage rate, which I think is important to mention. We often use in-house labor. Sometimes we use outside contractors as well to save money. And I'll just give one little anecdote. When we did the JP Carr gym, the original bid had pressure washing of the ceiling and the walls because it was aging and it's used a lot. So oftentimes the doors are open, so it's subject to the dust and everything from the outside. And one of the project managers kind of got up there on one of the lifts and was brushing it and had a great idea. And instead of pressure washing it, which you'd have to cover everything in plastic and take the lights down, and it's sort of invasive, and there's, excuse me, there's water everywhere, he had the idea to just clean it. And so we had somebody up there with brushes and brooms, and we saved close to $10,000 just by cleaning the dust off, knocking it down and vacuuming it up, and we didn't have to pressure wash the entire building. Wow. So things like that, we do our best to every nickel and dime is important. So the three that I would say that are my updates, I won't talk about the 911 building. I gave a presentation last time I was here. We are looking forward to that. But the second state courtroom, I think there was a comment made at a public meeting recently that we don't take care of the elected officials, and we are, I kind of take, I don't want to say I take offense to that, but that's something that hits home because we strive to make sure all our elected officials, our new second state court Judge Reed, we're beginning demolition on his courtroom on the 3rd floor. We've ordered furniture. We're getting ready to begin renovations. Hopefully the noise didn't bother the district attorney on the 2nd floor too much, because I don't really want to go to jail for that. So we've begun that, and we'll be able to serve the citizens to have a second state court, which will relieve some of the backlog on the criminal as well as civil side of things. The Lorraine Playground, which I thought Director Redmond would have hit on, is complete. It is a fantastic structure. It has a little play car, which, if you don't know the history of Lorraine Park, it used to be a junkyard. So we have I'm not as snazzy as some of the other ones, otherwise I have some pictures up there, but we have some aerial shots of the park. If you've ever seen it, it was covered in vehicles.
Yeah, bring
so
that picture next time.
I'll do
because
that.
a lot of folks knew, they didn't know that junkyard was there for some of those old timers that knew what it was before
That's
what
right.
it is.
And it's on the river. Literally, the property runs into the river. So we've removed several hundred tons of tires, trash, debris, car parts a little while back. And the final step was to install the pavilion and the playground that finished out the park. That playground has a little play car, so that's kind of, we did it, sort of a shout out to what it used to be. We have some ground level slides, which are really neat. They're built into the ground so that they might be 8 or 9 feet tall, but you can't fall off more than a foot or two because they're built into the ground. They're pretty cool. There's another play structure, and then there is this huge geodesic hexagonal dome thingy. That's the technical term for it. And it's really cool. So if you get a chance to go out there, I'm going to take my kids out there.
Technical.
That's the technical. It's really cool. So we finished that, and then we have a kayak launch coming soon as well. And we're in the design and construction portion of that. And last but not least, one of the other things, we also serve our internal customers as well as the external customers. Code enforcement was long overdue for some renovations. We were able to provide some renovations of those. We repaired the structure long before the county inherited it. Was built so that it had internal gutter. There were some water leaks. There was that old 70s wood paneling that you remember. So we were able to refresh that, renovate that, remove the paneling, fix the leak, dry everything out. We brought a fresh color and a finish to the room. And that's important. That room is not only used by code enforcement for their staff meetings, their training, it's also a public room that transportation can use for their public meetings, and it's also used by the Youth Reporting Center that is also located in that building. So a lot of what we do is serving multiple different people in multiple different functions. So that's my update.
Deputy Director, thank you so much. General Services, give him a round of applause. We got 2 to go. Last up, just before the last, we'll ask Director Keller to come on up. The folks over in the Lake Capri area are really interested in an update. They saw some activity, and my phone was blowing up because they were getting excited, and it looks like there's hope on the way in reference to the Rock Road Bridge.
Well, good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Madam Commissioners. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
First off, I'd like to start a little one place before that, the SPLOST. Splosh 4A,
Yes, sir.
rehabilitation. There were a lot of comments and questions about the roads here in Rockdale. I'd like to say that currently we're about 60% complete with 100 roads.
Oh, wow.
In Rockdale. Currently, our teams are in the Irwin Place subdivision and the Pine Forest subdivision, finishing there. And then we're moving forward, looking for next year's list, because this is an ongoing process. We're looking at a new list for our 5A, which will focus on our arterials. It'll kind of pivot from our subdivisions and focus on our arterials that need attention. Places like Flat Shoals, Honey Creek, that need a touch. They haven't been touched in several years. We're gonna.
Old Covington Highway. I was out on that.
I actually already have
Couple
plans
days ago.
especially for that one.
It was really bad.
So that one's on your list, you said?
That one's gonna be a special one. That one is gonna be done separately. I have a whole new plan for that one separately. That one needs a lot more than just a surface.
Okay.
So that's where we are there. So I'm happy and very pleased to announce that. Next up, we'll jump into Lake Capri.
All right.
So currently, the demolition of the old structure is gone. So we're gonna work with, just got some brand new pictures. We're gonna get those lined up, and next time I hope to have a good presentation to show you kind of the old and the new. Don't wanna show too much because we have some things coming in the works, some videos. I really wanna highlight that for our Transit Summit,
Okay.
but that's a big deal. So,
So right now, there's no bridge there at all?
There's nothing there. We are currently today,
Okay.
just yesterday, we just got done doing our first set of sheet piles for the new structure on the
Right.
east side of that bridge.
Right.
Today, we're doing the west side. So
Okay.
if you hear some pinging and pounding, that's what that is. We have to show everything up for that new structure. So the bridge itself, we're looking at the 10th to have the new bridge shipped in. So you'll have new
Shipped
structure.
in?
Shipped in from
Shipped in,
Savannah. So,
okay.
lot of live work. We're going to be doing some unloading. We're going to have some video of all that, pictures of the old and the new, and really kind of give it a selling point. Because I know that's a big deal here.
We're gonna have a ribbon cutting, Director Mims, on that bridge.
We actually have some here.
We're gonna have a ribbon cutting. We're gonna walk across that bridge and have a big old celebration. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So that's the bridge just before it was torn out.
All right.
So do we have an anticipated completion date?
31st of October.
31st I said November, so please hold me to my word true, please.
And then lastly, I'd like to get my deputy here to chime in here real quick on Sigmix. I know that's another one that everyone sees, and we have some updates on that as well.
Be careful now. Be careful.
He's young.
No, it's okay.
He actually stretched.
Need him for the rest of the day. I need him here all day today.
Sorry, but thank you, Director Kelly. And good morning, Chairman Oz, and Madam Chair, Commissioners. So yeah, the update for Sigmund Road Phase 2, widening plus the multi-use path. Right now, we are 60% complete.
Oh, wow.
We are tracking for a completion date of May of 2023.
Okay.
Which is a little overshooting the original completion date of March. So we're going to overshoot possibly by 2 months. Now, it's not a bad deal. So the reason I say that is because the last couple of months usually deal with grassing, a little bit of fine grading, striping, etc. So the vast majority of the project that most of the general public will enjoy will be complete. So at 60% complete, right now you'll probably also see a lull in construction. Can't avoid that. I know that we've received a couple of phone calls. People have noticed. Just to let you know that is utility work. Once they finish all of those underground utilities, that opens up the door for everything above ground to move forward.
Okay.
So that is the good news. The other good news is that this is probably one of our largest construction projects in our department as of right now, just ahead of SPLOST. So, and we're only looking to get bigger, deliver bigger construction projects. That's all I have for.
Deputy Director Brown, thank you, and we're excited about the project and the progress of Sigmund Road and the widening project there. I know Commissioner Washington helped champion that years ago. We appreciate it. Give him a round of applause. Our final report for today, as we wrap up, will come from Director Dan Morgan, our Emergency Management Agency, EMA, and he will be telling us how to prepare for Ian, Tropical Storm Ian, and all of what's going to be headed our way. And you're going to give us a couple of tidbits of good education for those that are wanting to be informed and educated. Director Morgan.
Thank you, Commissioners. I do have a couple of things. First, you also know that risk management falls under me as well.
That's right.
So there's been a video of you climbing over the chairs. No, that's it. All right. So, expect a phone call. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Good. That was.
Okay. I couldn't resist. Okay,
job,
I do have three. EMA is made up of Animal Services, 911, and EMA. I'll get to the hurricane and EMA last, but we do have a couple of exciting updates out of Animal Services. Starting Monday, October the 3rd, we will be actually opening up the TNR, which is the Trap, Neuter, Return, Release program of our community and feral cats, where a citizen can come and reserve a trap, go trap these cats that are a nuisance or around whatever. They take them directly to the vet. The vet fixes them, gives them shots, puts them back. The citizen comes and releases them back into the same location they were trapped in, all at no cost to the citizen.
Look on the chairman's face, you're going to have to stop.
I probably shouldn't have led with that one, but yes.
Okay, so I have these cats. So you're telling me that I have to trap the cats myself and then...
If you want to participate in the county TNR program...
And then take them
You take them to our contracted vet, and then you
I got to take them to the vet?
Yes.
To the vet, not to animal control?
No.
To the vet. And then come and get the cat
and then bring it back.
and then bring it back to my
And let it
house?
loose.
Oh.
So you have to remember, the county has no cat ordinances, so we are providing an avenue
So
for
what do
citizens.
we need to do to put a cat ordinance? Do we have a cat ordinance?
That would be extremely hard to do because of the
I'm just
nature of
asking.
cats. So, but no, that TNR, that is something that is in our strategic plan. That is something that animal groups in the community have been pushing us for, and we have gone out to the ones in Atlanta and DeKalb and Newton and other places where they have run them and taken the best avenues of everyone's plan and have it, and we actually have it set up with the vet as a contracted service. So we already have people lined up to come get the traps. So we're excited about being able to offer this service to the community to handle this issue.
Well, let me jump in real. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Well, and you just talked about feral cats.
Feral cat.
Not somebody's pet cat.
So it's
the feral cats that are coming to eat all my dog's dog food, like the feral cats.
That is, they're actually,
all over my
the
yard.
terminology is trying to get into community cats, because feral has a negative connotation in the
I
animal world
see.
now, but it's community
Mine is
cats. So
feral.
yes, if you have cats that either live on your property or come on your property, this is the avenue
That
to
don't
get
have
them
an
fixed.
owner. Is that what we're talking about?
If they are trapped, they're part of the program. So essentially, if cats need to be either inside or maintained, free roaming cats could be eligible for this program.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
So,
I was just going to say, this is really a big deal.
It is.
Last month, Fulton County Animal Services did a big announcement about the number of feral cats that are in Metro Atlanta, and that includes Rockdale County. There are a lot of cats, feral cats, and you can call them community cats, whatever you want to call them. They run around, and sometimes they do become a nuisance in
correct.
some areas. Some of them hang around restaurants, grocery stores,
Yards.
communities, and when people leave their dog food out, a hungry cat will eat what's, going to do what a person is going to eat what they can eat. And if they know it's there on Monday, they coming back on Tuesday to see if it's still there. But I really appreciate, let me go back to the education piece. Because what the commissioner was asking you about, the person has to come over to Animal Care Services, pick up the cage, set it, trap it. Once the cat is in it, take it over to a vet. There's some work involved.
Yes.
Right, and animal control, you don't just let, animal control is not just gonna, I want to make sure we don't send the wrong message and people are misinformed and they call thinking that we're gonna do all the work, and that's not how it works. I want you to take your time, slow down, and give that again and educate them on that one.
That is absolutely correct. For someone to be participating here, they will be fully informed before they pick up the trap as what is expected of the human involved in this transaction, and that they take that cat, they trap the cat because they know where the cats are on their property. They take it to the vet, which is located on Georgia 20 North, just north of Milstead, and then the same day or the next morning, they pick up that cat and then release it back into their area. That's the trap, neuter, release, or return policy. Because we don't want to kill the cats, so they are neutered so that colony can't reproduce.
Right.
That's the whole purpose of this. And it is an involved process. If you would like more information or to talk about the availability of these traps, call 770-278-8403. That's the direct line into Animal Services, and they will be able to give you the rules and regulations and protocols and sign you up.
All right.
So, second thing for animal, just to let you know that with the adoption places, including at the grand opening of the newest dog park and working with our rescue groups, we have some of the highest placement rates of our animals we have ever had.
Very good. Very good.
We have really made progress over there. Second thing for 911, I'm very excited to say two things. One, that we are in the final hiring process and we'll be starting our next operator recruit school in October. And with that, in addition to that, we have also been working with RCA to try to revamp, re-kickstart their high school communications training program at RCA. They have lost their instructor. They did not have it this fall, and we're already in it. We're actually going to be going out to the high schools when they have their sort of program night to help the school talk about an operator career and then try to kickstart their program, and then once it starts, help them in the instruction of that program with some of our trainers. We're excited about that.
Very good.
And last, and also, Andrew said we're starting the 911 center. Just let you know the work's getting ready to start, because as of today's consent agenda, y'all approved just over $3 million in SPLOST funds for all our new equipment that's getting ready to roll in the door. So thank y'all for that. And lastly, we do have Ian that is could be impacting us. It will definitely be impacting Georgia. I just got notice as we were sitting here that GEMA is opening the statewide EOC for a 24-hour full activation starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow, anticipating impacts. Right now it looks like heavy impacts Georgia coast and that southeast portion of Georgia. For us right now, we are anticipating gusty winds starting Thursday, going through Saturday morning, 25 to 45 miles an hour with gusts, with 2 to 4 inches of rain. So that is that 4 inches of rain over that 2.5 to 3 day period, but it still could cause some standing water and could cause some minor flooding. The big thing that we are concerned about, as is the whole state, is the wind, which could bring trees and or power lines down. So a couple things is, if you have a tree or power line down, please call 911 and report it. If you have power lines down in your neighborhood, call it in. Do not approach them, because they still could be live. Let the power company and the fire department and those professionals handle the situation out there on the road. For you personally, if you power lines down, somebody's losing power, so be prepared for that. I do not anticipate widespread outages. These are going to be the tree fell at the beginning of my subdivision. These 12 houses are out for a couple of hours. But do you have a go kit? Do you have a stay-at-home kit? Are you prepared to be without power? Your phone's fully charged? Do you have meals ready to eat? You don't have to cook on an electric stove? in case you did want or have to go someplace for a long period of time, where is that place you're going to go? Have a plan. Have a plan for yourself, your family, your pets. So that is the big thing is they're pushing now that it appears that we're not going to have a direct hit in northwest, northeast Georgia from the storm. We're still going to get the remnants of the wind. We're going to be on the good side of the storm, the left-hand side. I am participating in daily briefings from the National Weather Service. I'm also in daily communication with our Rockdale County departments and agencies of these latest updates so we can be fully prepared for whatever this throws at us. So if that's what I have now, I think we're in pretty good shape. If you have any questions.
You gave us a lot of good information. Let's give the director a round of applause.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, right before we go into wrap up, any final comments from you, Commissioner Washington? No. Commissioner Williams? Executive Director Rutledge, is there any need for executive session this afternoon?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the purpose of discussing pending and threatened litigation.
Okay, Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I move that we move into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending and threatening litigation.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been properly motioned and second. And motion carries that we will be moving into executive session. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out today. This meeting is adjourned.